We got some shit for the previous, next, and current game in the annual Shooty Shooty Bang Bang franchise to discuss here in the Call of Duty News of the Week. Yesterday there was a patch for Black Ops 3, and yes, you heard that correctly, Black Ops 3, which seemingly based on the patch notes was just for stability updates and map exploits on Redwood Snow, which you'd think for a reskin, there would be no map exploits. However, earlier today, Operation Swarm was made live for Black Ops 3 with new BB-bops like a killer bee calling card, Swarm specialist themes, a hive camo that looks like someone's crusted shit from their dingleberries plastered on a gun, 2 new weapons with the Sten and RPK that are locked inside of an RNG box only, in the worst supply drop weapon system in the history of Call of Duty, and prop hunt for 10 vanilla maps, including a mannequin-only version on Nuketown stylized with a 3. Oh, and speaking of reskin maps, Fringe Nightfall, which is a nighttime version of the vanilla map Fringe, will be the new Easter egg hunting ground for exactly 1 month after the holiday to search for clues about the upcoming Black Ops 4. Even the description says, quote, "Go back in time and play the acclaimed Fringe with other eyes," as if Treyarch is begging people to find something other than the clocks on the wall reading 9:30, which is the same time as the Mob of the Dead guard makes his rounds. This actually seems to line up with the now discredited Matthew Harris leaks about the zombie storyline, picking up right after Mob of the Dead, and the description about going back in time as a tease for what the campaign should have been. So let's talk about those leaks, some of which turn out to be fake news, to steal a term from Orange Cheeto Jesus. Matthew Harris UK's confession on elaborating on the campaign and zombie stories seems to have dismissed all of his leaks. However, multiple sources still have confirmed no campaign, a Call of Duty Battle Royale mode, which I'll have a video on Thursday breaking down how it works in Call of Duty Online, and my wish list for the upcoming title. That is, unless something changes between now and then. As well as multiplayer having an original design to be more based on the specialist before being scrapped due to bad feedback. All of which are the most important things that he originally leaked. Even though this damages his credibility for all of the information that he provided, the fact remains that there are multiple instances of sources confirming the biggest piece of his leak, so I'm more inclined to believe those things rather than all that one-off info that hasn't been corroborated. Especially the multiplayer part about being hero shooter-esque seems to back up a pair of now deleted Vaughn tweet storms where he self-reflects at what seems to have been about getting shit on and having to go back to the drawing board in January, with later tweeting about how Treyarch rises to the challenge in March. These signs all point to the rumors, which have been verified by multiple sources being true about the multiplayer, but don't get your panties in a bunch just yet. Don't even bother getting hyped or even deflated after the reveal on May 17th. Wait until you get your hands on the beta, I mean demo, to try the game for yourself to see if it's good or not. No marketing or PR bullshit is going to make my decision for me. Speaking of the reveal, let's talk about an actual tease now that we've learned that we shouldn't trust a journalism student with a unibrow at his word on Twitter, and that Treyarch actually used the platform to rate a tweet about blind faith in a development studio 10 out of 10 with a picture of what appears to be possibly a leak regarding the return to the Pick-10 system after the abomination that was the Division create-a-class nonsense. The text claims that they can't wait until the reveal, but it seems that they didn't wait anyways with sharing this 411. Finally, onto the current and forgotten about until some new content happens in the game, Call of Duty World War II. There were a few hotfixes last week to address a lack of aim assist with the Lee Enfield sniper for those plebs that have to play in 60 FOV, as well as Sledgehammer Games being bad at counting with orders and contracts since math isn't obviously their strong suit, a charm exploit on the M1928, and map exploits on Operation Griffin. They also have commented that they're working on a giant laundry list of issues with the game, some of which have been around in some shape or form since launch, like the spectator bug, game crashes and freezes, display issues, and the voice of God in war mode, "A bomb has been planted on our ammo supply." Although I'm not really sure I'd care about them fixing the latter because it's hilarious to me as an atheist when I hear the voice of God and get happy. Also, in a recent weekly community update, they posted that they ignored poll data and tweets about the 3 whole days of Dom XL, and instead they're going with a 75 points per kill in domination and a happy medium, but that hasn't hit the wild yet, and based on the untimeliness of Dom XL, I'm guessing it'll be summer before we get that shit to happen. Not that it matters much now that we've got Blitzkrieg to turn score streaks into kill streaks, thus negating the entire debate altogether. Speaking of Blitzkrieg, the community challenge is currently at level 2 of 5, with most people speculating that Sledgehammer Games is actually going to rig the contest to make it seem like more orders were done than there actually are, given the 3-week timeline and the 75 million contracts and orders goal to make it look like people are actually playing their game. I guess this is also what happens when you make the shitty reward of a variant of a vanilla gun when you add in 6 new weapons in the last big update, but haven't had a weapon contract for any of them yet, while also locking off Season Pass owners from the new weapons as well, unlike where I thought we were going with Infinite Warfare and Modern Warfare Reimagine's new weapon policies. I mean, what's the motivation in going for a variant for a gun that everybody already has? Seriously, at this point, it's almost as bad as Treyarch locking shit away in supply drops only without having the option of challenges to complete complete in order to unlock new game-changing weapons. I'm looking at you, ITRA Burst. No, I don't want the fucking ice pick from the very first goddamn event. How about some fucking guns from the new one, or even the Shamrock one before this, for fuck's sake? Speaking of new shit, in the latest patch, 13, and yeah, you heard that right, 13 new weapons along with a fully fleshed out new division has been found. So one of these weapons that we'll never be able to get contracts in order to obtain without spending ourselves into oblivion, buying COD points for a paid chance to win them, the Delisle carbine with an integrated suppressor, the PTRS-41 anti-tank rifle, which is actually in World at War erroneously as a bolt-action rifle, and the Revy Rolls 1918 for those familiar with the pay-to-win gun DLC in Battlefield 1. There's 5 SMGs, the MP44 all-metal German prototype, 3 SMGs which would have been better for the Resistance DLC considering their origins, the ZK383 Czech SMG along with 2 Polish SMGs, as I'm going to butcher this name even though I do have some Polish heritage in my family, the Besiłek and the Błyskawica. That's actually a version of the Sten, so it'll be easier for Sledgehammer Games to reuse gun assets, which is why there is also an Australian Sten SMG in the datamine files. 2 LMGs, the Chateau Leroux, which is both spelt incorrectly in the game files and is actually the French FM2429 LMG since gun naming rights is apparently too rich for Activision's blood, and the KGM21, which is actually a Swedish variant of the BAR, good for that recycling since Call of Duty is the greenest franchise around. 2 snipers, the Mosin Nagant and Carcano, both of which made it into Battlefield 1, so why not rip off its greatest competitor? And lastly, because there's gotta be melee weapons in a shooter game for some reason, a goddamn sword. Even though the last leak Grenadier Division was actually just spread across multiple divisions, with the latest huge overhaul update, the new Commando Division seems to be more complete. There are currently only 3 basic trainings, which means that one of them must still be a work in progress since all of the divisions now have 4, but what's weird is that each basic training has 4 different tiers associated with lifetime kills doing certain actions. The first basic training is explosive damage resistance, and tiers are given by prone or crouch kills. 1 kill for bronze of a 12% damage reduction, silver is 8 kills for 26%, gold is 15 kills for 40%, and max is 99% for 35 kills, which just seems wrong altogether, but you'll fucking need it now that everybody has 2 pieces of annoying to throw at the start of each life. The next basic training is increased sprint speed for hip-fire kills, bronze 2% with 1 kill, silver 4% with 10 kills, gold 7% increase with 25 kills, and max is a 25% sprint increase with 119 kills, which is a random-ass number, but the perks are more in line with what I think is actually fair. Lastly is decreased recoil for headshot kills. Bronze is 6% recoil reduction for 1 kill. Silver is 15% for 10 kills. Gold is 35% for 25 kills. And max is a 90% recoil reduction for 75 kills, which I didn't even know that Call of Duty guns had recoil to begin with. What's 90% of 0? Anyways, also in the datamine, the DLC 3 war map will take place in Tunisia, Africa, which is a better location than Giza, Egypt, which saw abso-fucking-lutely 0 fighting during the Second World War. The objectives are the ho-hum, capture the flag for the first one, hold a hard point for the second one, and destroy an objective for the third one, much like the second in Griffin and the first and third in Breakout. Also found is things to play dress up with in a shooter, including a chrome tiger camo, which has been in the game since the beta, but is now finally unlockable for those that keep bitching about the regular chrome camo not being enough of an incentive to keep you playing this disaster, along with face camos, which is on the same data structure as the face and helmet customization. So, maybe we'll get face paint like it's the original Black Ops, huh? Lastly, since Activision is spelt with a $sign, they put out a survey to players in order to gauge just how much bullshit they could get away with in RNG boxes. The only appropriate answer to all of these questions is no, nothing should be locked in RNG boxes that cannot be obtained by having a challenge to unlock them, or I'd even let slide an option to purchase items directly instead of the pull the lever of a slot machine. But this is also a play on psychology. Suggest things that are so abhorrent like perks or extra double XP, or things that alter the meta of the game, that even mildly bad things like kill cam customizations or calling cards that are cosmetic only in nature make it seem not so bad when you give an inch and they only take a foot instead of a mile. Microtransactions in the form of gambling, or anything that cannot be obtained from simply playing the game in a reasonable manner being in a full price game, are fucking unacceptable. What do you guys think? I've been the Schwans27, out like the Indiana Pacers. Until next time.